The Carboniz Pro G is exactly the same thing as the product that we're putting around the tree. But the only difference is this is meant to, it has a carrier in it to make it where you can throw it in a broadcast spreader. And so it's this, this is meant, you know, for you to put on the yard. And it's the same principle as the yard, is that we're working on the roots and we're working on the plants. We're not just working on the top growth. And before, when you fertilize with synthetic fertilizers, all you're doing is dealing with the growth for the next 3 or 4 weeks. After that, the fertilizer goes away into the soil, or it grows off, and then y'all mow it with the lawnmower, and it's gone. But the yard, it doesn't improve any. You know, it's kind of like with our diet. You know, Twinkies are good, but after about a day, they no longer help us in any way. And so this is a similar situation. And so this is meant for you to apply just like fertilizer. And this is not going to burn the yard. Don't be nervous about it like you would be fertilizer. And so you would just do it just like you would do regular fertilizer. And just kind of watch the edge like you would normally. You go, it's not, you blow it off with the patio.
Pero puedes cerrarle, ¿no?
If you overthrow on flowers or anything, it's not going to hurt anything.
Así le puede hacer. No te digo.
That's what we were saying.
This is what they call pelletized.
This is a lot of things.
Yeah. We'll do one more for good measure over here. This is 1 pound for every 1,000 square feet. And y'all, this is 1 pound for every 1,000 square feet. But y'all don't need to worry about that. Addison is going to tell you how many pounds for each yard. But again, that's one of the nice things about this is, unlike regular synthetic fertilizers, we're not going to burn the yard, and it's safe. It's safe for pets. It's safe for everybody. And so I want for y'all to introduce and start using this. And I'm excited about it because our yards are going to be more stable. And one of the added benefits is that the better the root system is for our customers' yards, the less water it's going to have. And then also, it's going to be such where if the lawn sprinkler stops working, it's not going to necessarily die because it's going to have a good root system, and it will be able to, you know, to recover. Where right now, the fertilizers, synthetic fertilizers, they don't do that much for the root system because we water often and we fertilize often, and the roots never do really expand and go anywhere. Think of it as being kind of like a teenager at home with cable TV. There's no reason for them to go anywhere. And that's kind of like it is with the fertilizers.
In the roots.
In the roots. Can you translate that? Do you understand my example with the teenager with cable?
Yeah. I'll come up something close to it.
Okay.
Pero este es el mismo que ponemos en el hardwood, nomás cabe en la máquina. Pero es el mismo, no quema la zacate o nada. Pero también no lo echamos en el patio y todo. Tíralo bien. Y
You can just blow that off. It's not going to stain or do anything.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
burn the grass.
Yes.
Or burn the grass. Y otra cosa, este es el mismo, es todo organic, todo va a aguantar más y todo eso. So, nomás no es por un día, dice que en tiempo y más que echamos, aguanta más. El zacate, cuando lo cortas, Tony, no queda bien. Pero lo tiras del mismo y todo eso.
Y el ejemplo del cable.
Falta lo último que yo no entendí ahí.
Oh, what was the last? They want me to say the last joke you said.
Well, regular fertilizer is, in my opinion, it's like that the roots need to be about 4 inches long. And if I was to do a soil probe here, even on my own yard, this office yard, they would probably be about 2 inches because I water often and I've been using synthetic fertilizers. And so there's no reason for the roots to grow long. there's no reason for them to stretch and develop themselves.
Gotcha.
And with synthetics and with organics, when you can work on the soil, then actually you're encouraging the root and the plant to do good. You're not just concerned about what the top looks like. And my example with the teenager was, it's kind of like if you have a teenager at home and you have cable TV and a lot of food in the refrigerator, there's no reason for him to go anywhere.
Gotcha.
He won't hardly leave because there's no stress on him to grow roots.
Y luego también con esto,
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
este hace las raíces más largos, so no se quieren ir. Y está diciendo es como un niño en la casa con el cable y con comida.
No tiene que trabajar.
Exactly. Why go anywhere else? Everything is right here, close and handy.
Pero no, este hace los raíces más largos.
Así que es
Pero
con
no
la
estaba
raíz.
para eso, Tom. So sorry,
So that's the end of our huddle today. As our next learning thing is going to be, we're going to be changing to beef fat instead of Roundup, and so that's our next thing to start trying. Is I want to get away from using Roundup so we don't get a third eye or anything weird, and so I want, that's our next huddle that we'll learn about.
But the Roundup we got right now, we still continue.
We're still using. I'm going to introduce the other because I don't want to start just using the new one everywhere, because it may or may not work. So I'm going to start small, and then we're going to introduce move towards only using the organic.
I'm gonna come back to this real quick.
Okay.
Y luego con esto para tirar, no te preocupes cuánto bolsas necesitas para cada casa, porque Alison va a decir.
Va a tantear.
¿Cuánto?
Sí, él hace el
¿Y en
presupuesto.
qué medida la esas tres?
Él es muy bueno para los presupuestos.
Sí. Oh, y comienzas en la 30. Comienzas en la 30 y como ahorita sabes, mira, como está tirando un chingo, nomás poco a poco cámbiala. Porque todos son diferentes.
You know, also it's and I used it right then. 30 works.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just on a side note, yeah.
Huh?
A lot. It was putting out a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
but it's the future.
Yeah.
You know.
No, we just don't want to wait.
Right. So like when you use synthetic fertilizer, more isn't better.
Yes, but this is.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you keep it on 30.
So,
Yes.
También con eso, José, como si era el otro fertilizer, we would have burned it. Si lo íbamos a quemar, pero si tira mucho con esto,
No pasa nada.
no. O sea, no se va a enojar como Tony o...
So I guess what we need to figure out is how many feet we can walk on 30 with that pound.
Yes.
Pero también como dijo Chase,
I'll
no
go like
quieres
fertilize a really big
nomás
yard,
tirarlo,
and I'll see how so I can go fertilize like a really big yard and see how far I can go with one bag.
Exactly.
How much is that stuff?
Yeah, 15
How much is
the
it?
number we want, but it doesn't seem to
know.
spread at 15.
Do you guys have any questions about this at all, about the root flare or about the new products for the yard?
nada de esto.
So you're wanting them to expose the root flare and leave kind of a volcano around it.
More of a moat.
But if it's too much, take the mulch away and put it
in a bed somewhere.
Okay.
And know that it seems that it looks like I'm doing the same thing with the Carbon Pro G, like I'm basically putting mulch right back on top of the root flare. I can understand how you would think that, but this is going to go away. With the lawn sprinkler and with everything, it's meant to dissolve and go into the ground.
Well, that's food right on the roots too.
Yes. Can you explain that?
También para acá, porque si se va a mirar feo.
I would say like
No, hoy no.
think about the roots like fish, and you're just putting fish food on it.
Yes.
Like it's eating it.
Mhm,
I don't know. That
exactly.
might be an easy analogy for them to understand.
Right.
Te queda como 20 minutos y cosas así. Como ahorita.
Quitarlo y emparejarlo.
Quitarlo y luego todo esto es mulch, ¿verdad? Se mira feo. Estos digo como nomás tirarlos en las camas. Escóndelo bien. You know, lo demás. Y luego
And Vicente, you're going to be here doing some shop duties, so I'll get you to do these trees here. So when they come back, they can look at them and see what they look like.
Okay. Y también yo y no